In whose hands would the destiny of the world be left when push comes to shove? Would humans be able to defend mankind against the rage of the gods? And who would be able to defeat the gods? These are some of the questions that may puzzle you when you watch sizzling battles in Record of Ragnarok. Welcome to the channel. Today we will be talking about the gods in Record of Ragnarok, how we can defeat them, and lots more, so stay tuned. The anime starts with the gods having their usual meeting, which they hold every 1,000 years, to discuss the fate of mankind and if they have done enough to be spared or destroyed. A demigod from the clan of Valkyrie, who was called Brunhild, suggested that they do something different this time. She suggested that they held a competition between the gods and mankind, and if humans win, the gods will spare mankind for the next 1,000 years. But in a situation where the gods win, they would destroy mankind. So while this brought arguments at first, the king of the gods, Zeus, agreed and accepted it, believing mankind would not be able to harm a god. Brunhild then proposed that her clan be allowed to assist mankind in their fight against the gods, as they would not stand a chance without divine powers. But she had some tricks over her sleeves as she picked fighters they least expected. She went to the past and brought the worst of the worst, as well as the best of the best. Some of the fighters she selected were 1. Lu Bu, strongest warrior, general, and warlord. 2. Qin Shi Huang, first emperor of China. 3. Adam, file number 1, father of all humankind. Number 4. Sasaki Kojiro, history's greatest loser. 5. Raiden Tameemon, powerful sumo wrestlers of all time. 6. Jack the Ripper, serial killer from the late 19th century Britain. But along the line, something interesting happens. A god decides to also join the humans. This was no other than Buddha. So to give you a clear picture, on God's side we have 1. Zeus, the god of sky. 2. Shiva, god of destruction. 3. Hercules, champion of the Olympians. 4. Poseidon, most fearsome god. 5. Thor, Nordic god of thunder. 6. Bishamonten Zerofuku, god of fortune or misfortune. 7. Hades, king of the netherworld. In this video, we would be focusing on the gods who won their rounds in the battle and what mankind could have done differently to win. So first, we will be talking about the god of the sky. In the series, it was shown that he had a matchup with the first man in the world who happens to be the most hated human called Adams. Adams proved to be a very difficult opponent for Zeus, regardless of his strength. He could copy any attack combo and return it. This was possible because of his eyes, which they called the eyes of the Lord. These eyes could see through any attack, and even after that, Adams can mimic all the moves of his opponent and land the same attack. During their battle, Zeus was unable to land any of his attacks on Adams, not even a single one. This is Zeus we're talking about here, the king of all gods, feared and respected, being beaten by a mere human. This battle showed us how strong Adam was, and nothing would have stopped him in the fight except for a minor problem. His eyes of the Lord tend to overheat when it's used for too long. Things went south the moment a speck of blood entered his eyes. He froze due to the overheating of his brain and eyes. But what could he have done differently? How could he have defeated someone he had an advantage over? Zeus himself said that had the fight not been one of endurance, Adams would have defeated him as he already accepted defeat, not knowing Adams was already dead. So back to the question, what could Adams have done differently to defeat Zeus? I think Adams should have used his ability to dodge the blood initially. He felt it was just blood and did not think it was an attack. I doubt that the blood was too small for him to see, because his eyes were so sharp that he could see an attack of Zeus called the Fist that surpassed time. Then, something else Adam could have done was copy Zeus's Adama's attack, since he copied him all through his battle. If he had done this, then he would have been able to defeat Zeus, as we see he was not just on par with Zeus, but was stronger than him. So that's how Adams could have defeated Zeus. The next god we would talk about and how to defeat him is the god of thunder, Thor. Thor happened to be the guardian of Asgard and the strongest Nordic warrior. As legend has it, when Asgard was attacked by the Jotuns, It was believed that he single-handedly defeated them with one swing of his hammer. Thor has two weapons. One is Mjolnir, the hammer he wields, and Jarngrapir, which are two gloves we will talk about later. He was also seen to have super speed and strength. He fought Lu Bu, who was known as the Flying General and the strongest warrior in the three kingdoms of ancient China. Thor's fight was the first fight of the tournament. Lu Bu naturally didn't stand any chance against Thor because of Thor's Mjolnir. So the Valkyrie sister Rangris combined with Lu Bu to give him a weapon called Sky Piercer, whose ability granted him the strength to break through any kind of armor. What could be cooler in an unlikely matchup battle? So during the battle, Lu Bu was able to block Thor's full-powered attack and immediately countered the attack by slashing Thor in the chest. This brought some hope to humans, but the gods couldn't understand how Lu Bu managed to not only block the attack, but also return it. However, Zeus showed why he was the leader of the gods by explaining that the Valkyries fused with the humans and granted them the ability to fight on the same level as the gods. This was known as Volundr. This, however, seemed to excite Thor, as he had never really gotten a good fight in a long time, so he decided to put his all into the fight. During the battle, Lu Bu was able to destroy one of Thor's Jarngrapirs. This was when it was discovered that the main ability of the Valkyrie Rangris was a shield breaker that could break any armor, including Thor's. Thor dropped his hammer because people believed that it was the gloves that protected him against the Mjolnir. But this was not the case, as we saw that Mjolnir was a living being protected from Thor's powerful swings pending its awakening. Unfortunately, this was what happened in his fight with Lu Bu, and I believe that was one of the deciding factors in their battle. After the awakening of Mjolnir, the battle became almost one-sided to the extent that Lu Bu's legs shattered after he tried to counter it. Though his stallion aided him, it seems that it wasn't enough, and in the end, he ended up dying a fulfilling death. Now, what could Lu Bu have done to defeat Thor? Well, as the fight progressed, we see Thor's likelihood of winning the match increased, especially after the moment his weapon awakened. And I feel what led to this was the fact that the Jarngrapir was destroyed. So what would have happened if the Jarngrapir wasn't destroyed? Would it have been possible to keep fighting without making the Mjolnirs awaken? We guess that Thor would not have removed the Jarngrapir himself, since it would defeat the purpose of protecting the Mjolnir, as his powerful swings might have destroyed it. Lu Bu would have been able to use his weapon to keep hurting Thor after countering each attack from him. This could have gone on till he defeats Thor or Thor surrenders himself, as we see in the case of Zeus and Adam. Well, that's the way I think things would have gone Lu Bu's way. Another way that Thor could have been defeated was by giving him another opponent from the human side, and the person I believe would have handled him better is Adam's. We know that the ability of Adam, which is the eyes of the Lord, allows him to see all attacks and dodge them no matter how fast it is. He can also return it with the same velocity and energy, and this would serve him well in the battle. What he has to do is simply dodge all of Thor's attacks while returning them to him when he catches him off guard. We know that Thor's main attack was swinging his Mjolnir. And let's not forget that the main power of Thor can only be activated if his Mjolnir awakens. So I think that Adams would have to prefer that. And also, he would need to be decisive during that period. Adams is known for his sheer power and brute force combined with his hatred for the gods. I believe it would buster his resolve to win the match also. Another way that Thor can be defeated is if we pair him against Chen Shi Huang. Chen can reduce the efficacy of one's attacks by directly hitting an opponent's chi flow paths. If he does this against Thor, most of his attacks will be rendered ineffective, and Chen will be able to defeat him. We know that Chen is also on par with the gods, as his little fracas with Ares before his fight shows how strong and fearsome he can be. Let's not also forget that this emperor defeated Hanses, who was the god of the underworld. So yes, I believe that Chen Shi is capable of defeating Thor. It would be a difficult match for both parties, quite alright, but in the end, Chen Shi will come up top. The next god we would talk about is Shiva. He is a Hindu god and is known as the god of destruction. He is portrayed to have 4 arms and 3 eyes. He is a very strong god who back in history defeated all the other Hindu gods, including his best friend Rudra, who happens to be the second strongest Hindu god after him. It was said that when he and Rudra clashed, shockwaves were felt all around the battlefield as a result of their impact. Shiva uses brawling skills mostly, and when you combine them with his godlike abilities, then you will get to know just how strong he can be. He can also reimburse himself in hot flames by dancing so hot that it can burn anyone he comes in contact with. He fought against Raiden, who happened to be mankind's greatest sumo wrestler. While growing up, Raiden always had kids his age scared of him because of his size, and as he grew, he picked up sumo wrestling to raise money for his community, as there was a serious famine in the land at that time. But what made him sad was that he never got to fight to his full potential, as the opponents he faced were all beneath his strength level. He had to create 100 seals to tune down his power when he was sumo wrestling, and also for his bones not to crush under the weight of his muscles. During his battle with Shiva, Raiden had a Volunder with the Valkyrie, and she granted him the ability to undo his seal and be able to control his muscle strength, and he was able to fight to the fullest. The matchup with Shiva was meant to be equal, but he seemed to be at disadvantage based on two facts. Firstly, the extra limbs of Shiva gave him sort of an advantage when they were fighting, and also the second fact was the Tandava, which is his body's combustion due to him dancing and picking up a battle tempo. As I mentioned earlier, the Tandava makes anything that is touched be burned. As the battle went, Raiden was defeated and died. But was there anything Raiden could have done to defeat Shiva? Is there anyone on mankind's side that could even defeat Shiva? If yes, then who? I honestly don't see a way Raiden could have won simply because of Shiva's Tandava. Since Raiden is a close-range fighter, once he comes close, he would have been scorched. So the only way I feel he could have tackled this was if he had a way, could avoid the effects of the Tandava, which basically would mean that he had to be heat resistant. With this in mind, I don't see a way Raiden could have defeated Shiva himself, but there is someone who might have stood a chance against Shiva. I am talking of no other person than Buddha, the rebel god who took the side of mankind. Buddha has two things that can take care of the major two advantages of Shiva. He is a god, so heat would have no effect on him, and he fights with a weapon that can tackle the closest combat advantage of Shiva. It has been shown that Buddha has great reflexes second only to Zeus, if I'm able to give an open opinion. So being that fast, he would be able to dodge most of Shiva's attacks and would be using his divine weapon whenever the opportunity presented itself. Overall, I see Buddha defeating Shiva easily. So we see that just maybe the humans and the help of the gods could stand a chance against the gods when it comes down to it, so we might just be in good hands. But among the gods who scares me the most is Zeus, of course. But there are also other formidable guys in their crew that would give us problems. Do you think there are other ways we can defeat the gods? Which of them do you think will give us the most problem? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, then do check out our other videos on how to defeat powerful villains.